Hello guys, and Russian military vloggers and experts are very dissatisfied with the new lies of the General Gerasimov, the head of the General Staff of the Russian Army. Recently, Putin and Gerasimov had a press conference where they tried to persuade Russians and the world that the Russian army is advancing. Well, they are trying to reach the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions during the previous 11 years since the beginning of the full-scale invasion that was supposed to be a blitzkrieg. Putin even put on his military uniform. He always does that when he feels desperate, and then he looks pathetic. So more and more people inside Russia, professional, military, various experts start quoting the Institute for the Study of War, which demonstrates Russians are not advancing, Russians are losing a lot, people and territories, and they do not report about these failures. This time we're not talking about economy or some social issues. We're talking about problems like the destruction of Belgorod Dam that seriously slowed down any movements of the Russian troops close to the front lines and made it impossible for them to reach Vovchansk. So let's discuss how Putin is trying to fake that the Russian army is still standing and why is he doing it now. That's important. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that has already started, subscribe and please share these videos to spread the truth and demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. So let's begin with these recent press conferences that were held by Putin, by Gerasimov, by Shoigu, literally on every occasion. The reason for that is more and more problems amassing inside Russia and outside Russia. People clearly see problems with gasoline, explosions on oil refineries, constant air raid, lead sirens in dozens of Russian regions, closed airports, and more signals that actually shout the Russian Federation is collapsing. Now, Trump started speaking the truth about the state of the Russian economy and the Russian army, mocking the speed with which Russians try to reach the regions of Donetsk region. Honestly, I sometimes think that Putin was even given some time to try and reach these borders that he promised before the start of invasion, then before the start of the full-scale war against Ukraine, but he keeps failing because that's literally impossible. These years made Ukrainian army way stronger, and Russian, not just army, but literally project with economy, with the state of their population is collapsing and incomparably weaker. So people see that, and vloggers start quoting the Institute for the Study of War, which clearly demonstrates that during more than 1,000 days of this full-scale war, with lots of people sacrificed, with a lot of aircraft, tanks, helicopters lost, with seriously harmed oil refining industry, destroyed and bankrupted Lukoil, Gazprom, Rosneft, Russians managed to capture 1% of the Ukrainian territory. Of course, even 0.01% of the Ukrainian territory is very precious to me, and we need to return everything up to 1991 borders of Ukraine because that's necessary for our people to restore our homes, to restore our heritage, and also to restore the international law that many of you rely on too. But it is a clear demonstration that Putin literally gained nothing. And if he was at least a little bit normal, he would end this war long ago. But he keeps destroying Russia even faster than he wanted to destroy Ukraine. And people speak openly about that now. That is a serious change in the course of this war. And if you want to know how the ideologists of this invasion feel right now, what they beg Kremlin for, do check this new video on Anna Danilchuk channel where I provide some details directly from the toxic Russian internet. But knowing your enemy, knowing the language of your enemy helps to understand the situation way better. And another important thing is that there are a lot of failures inside Russian military. So we're not focusing today on the economy, though there are a lot of things to tell you because these problems amass just like a snowball. But we are talking about these failures on the front lines. First of all, the greatest failure is that now there are front lines both in Ukraine but also in Russia. In dozens of their regions, I keep reporting about various evil military facilities destroyed there. But recently, in the result of a very loud and successful landing of the Ukrainian drones, we destroyed Belgorod Dam that is located on Siversky Donetsk region, and it is not dangerous for people because literally around this territory we don't have any settlements. It's incomparable to what Russia did with Kakhovka Dam. But this led to serious changes in the level of waters, actually returning them to the natural state, and lots of roads, lots of logistics that was necessary for the Russian invaders who wanted to move closer to Volchansk were flooded. And thousands of their soldiers are literally trapped and they cannot move, they cannot invade Ukraine literally. They did not predict something like that was possible. They were totally unprepared, and now they are stuck in this newly created swampy lands. Because, come on, what are you doing in Ukraine? Return back home to Russia and do your work there. There are too many problems inside Russia, and if you want to fight for anything, find yourself a mission inside Russia, somewhere around Kremlin. So you won't find reports about that, even though it's visible on the satellite images. The Institute for the Study of War is talking about that, and right now more and more Russian military vloggers. People, please keep repeating to those who doubt or to those who know little that during this 1,000 days, with lots of things sacrificed, Russia gained less than 1% of the Ukrainian territory. Back in 2014, when Putin first invaded Ukraine, he wanted to reach the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk region. Now, after 11, soon 12 years since the beginning of this war, he did not manage to reach these borders of just 2 Ukrainian regions. And now Trump keeps speaking about that too. He finally understood that Russia is a paper tiger, not only in the economic sphere, with the GDP smaller than the one of Texas, California, or Florida. And we're talking about the largest country in the world that described itself as super strong. Now, Putin started speaking about these advances because he wants to use this manipulation tactics for the second time. In summer, when Ukrainian soldiers were demilitarizing Kursk region, Putin persuaded Trump that lots of the Ukrainian soldiers are encircled and we have to beg for mercy. And Trump believed Putin. Even though it was not true, in Ukraine people knew it's not true. We were shouting about that, but no one listened to us because Russia is big. Now everybody understands that Russia is big, a big problem. That's it. All you can describe as big in Russia is the size of their problems. Thumbs up and subscribe if you agree. But anyway, now he may use a similar manipulative tactics to try and persuade that Putin is moving really fast in Ukraine, so if you do not give him what he wants, no, people, please understand that right now he tried to negotiate and get the territories he cannot get for the territories he cannot get, which is pathetic, and everyone understands that here in Ukraine. So our mission is to keep fighting, to keep liberating our legitimate territories, to restore the international world order, and to destroy the Kremlin regime. This will bring peace and happiness to my part of the world and will serve as a perfect example to other authoritarian regimes that are thinking about something evil. Follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. All the links you will find in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good products that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and we need that a lot. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. It's an honor and a privilege to have you in my life, and my special thanks go to you people. And thank you so much for standing with Ukraine, for wanting to know more, for wanting to know the truth, and for sharing these videos. It works. Thank you once again. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!